Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. Shadow Song here with more Kingdom Hearts Unchained metal discussion. I was recently asked by one of my friends if I could go over the medals and builds that I use, especially after watching my Coliseum video. And with the release of the new epic medals, I thought it was a good time to do so. I actually don't have too many of them, the new epic medals. I only incorporate one in my build right now, but that is sure to change because they are very, very powerful. So just keep in mind, nearly all the epic medals will outdamage any of these when gilted, because they will literally do almost twice as much damage. So keep that in mind while I'm talking. I just don't have much data on them, otherwise I would be including them in this. Hopefully down the line I will be able to do another video when I know all of the new medals, when they are gilted, what their stats are. So for this video I'm going to be using a chart that a Twitch user named Tempest generated with the help of several very good players. I will put a link to that chart in the description for you. Now what I'm going to be focusing on mostly with this chart is the comparisons between three different categories. I feel that these categories are the best way to compare very different medals, considering different gauge costs, different elements, AoE, single target. So the first category that medals were classified in are how many special attacks you can get off using an entire Keyblade charge. So using 15 gauges, how many of this medal can you use? It's pretty unrealistic gameplay-wise, such as any of the single targets will mostly be at the top of this list because you'll be able to use them 15 times. However, how long or how often does a match go past 3 rounds? So it's a good way to compare them, though, just looking at the numbers, because those numbers might not actually happen in game, but they should be relative to each other. The second here that these are classified in are what does the damage of the medal do when it is attacking a single time. So there'll be one attack from the medal. Also, this will be a good way to compare medals just relative to each other. Doesn't take into account gauge cost at all. So on this list, you would expect to see the 3 gauges at the top. Now the third is the average of the two, and that's the one that I'm going to be using in my comparisons. Because again, you're not going to see these numbers in game, but they will be relative to each other, so it is a way to compare the medals to each other. And lastly, the major restricting factor in what you're going to be using is what you have. It is one thing to talk hypothetical, what medal is better than what, but if you only have one of them, that's the one you're going to be using. I've been fortunate enough to have enough pulls where I have a pretty high variety of medals that I can use, so hopefully I can give some insight. Finally have all 3 rows of 6-star. That's pretty cool. Right, so let's just jump right back into here. For the treasure trove, for the first slot, you are best off having AoE. It doesn't need the benefit of the Diz, and you'll get the 0.4 multiplier. Waka is a good choice for an AoE power medal. It is incredibly easy to gilt. As far as where it lies on the rankings, it is right in the middle. It is pretty high when you consider that it is AoE, and it is the third strongest AoE. For something that is easily gilted, this should definitely be on your team unless you have multiple gilts of the few that are stronger than it. What you might want to be replacing this with eventually will be the Kingdom Hearts 1 Riku, which is also 1 gauge, as having 2 Kingdom Hearts 2 Clouds would be 4 gauges and would not be that efficient. If you stick an attack boost on him, like I have, his usefulness lasts a lot longer. I have not been fortunate enough to pull any Kingdom Hearts 1 Rikus, so I foresee Waka being around a long time. I can talk about the boost medals now. They should probably be on all of your Keyblades. The non-multiplier slots on Keyblades, such as 2 and 4 on Treasure Trove, 3 on Lady Luck, 1 on 3 Wishes, and none on Starlight. Attack medals in those slots, once you get into higher end content, are basically going to do nothing. They are best utilized for status effects, defense boosts, and buffers. So in this case, putting in the second slot allows Waka to get on the 1.4 multiplier, and if we would do something like this instead, Waka would get the Diz 25% or 20%, but would not get the 0.4. So for this case, because there is a multiplier on the first slot, we will be putting an attack medal there. So Diz, Vivi, and Aerith all raise attack by about 20%. It seems to vary slightly. And there is no better boost. There's no attack medal here that can equal a 20% boost on this, and this. Is basically the logic behind the boost medals. They allow you to enhance your best other medals in the multiplier slots. So this could be an attack medal, but it would not get multiplied and it wouldn't affect the other ones that are on multipliers that you actually care about. 3 and 5 should be your best medals. I have 1 single target and 1 AoE to handle most situations. If I need to switch out an AoE for a single target, if I'm not fighting a lot of mobs, Waka would probably be one that I switch out. Considering that Cloud is one of my strongest medals, being fully chipped, daled, and 46% gilt with an attack boost 2. He hits almost as hard as my single targets do. And as far as where he falls on the rankings, he is the 6th strongest power tier medal and the 2nd strongest AoE. But that's kind of skewed, like I said before, because single targets are just so strong in the one category of how many you can fit into a Keyblade, that I would much rather look at it as how many you, or what's more plausible to do in about 3 turns. Because you're either going to win or lose within that time period. And if you take that into account, you're probably going to Cloud almost all 3 turns. So you're going to Riku all 3 turns as well. But it doesn't matter because the Cloud is going to outdamage it, and you're not really worrying about gauge at that point. Well, I'm not, because I'm going to be saving gauge for him simply because I have it fully chip and daled. If you have your single target fully chip and daled, that might be what you're going to use your gauge on. So, Blackfoot Riku is my favorite single target because he is 2 gauge as opposed to Hercules' 3. And because of that, he actually ranks higher than he does in the average category. And the only one that beats him, in my opinion, are Kingdom Hearts 1 Cloud and Kingdom Hearts 2 Leon, which are basically the same medal. At the very top of the power tier, we do have Goofy B. But, like I said, he is the single target, and he's massively skewed in one category. So I sort of disregard him in my 3-turn analysis of medals. So, I have my Black Coot Riku with the 2 gauges, and overall, once we look at my Cloud as well, which is also 2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have an 8 gauge, excuse me, full special turn, and that is very low. You can actually do a full rotation of that twice, considering the orbs you'll get while attacking will give you 1 more gauge for 16. And going through this cycle twice is incredibly powerful. If I were to add a Hercules in here instead of one of these 2, I would not be able to do a full rotation twice, and that would greatly affect the damage that I would do. Other power medals that you can consider are, like I said, the Kingdom Hearts 1 Riku over the Waka, Kingdom Hearts 2 Leon over the Cloud, because those are actually identical medals. And actually young Hercules instead of Waka. I definitely would not replace Kingdom Hearts 2 Cloud with a young Hercules, but he is farmable and he is free. So there's that to consider as well. That's pretty much it for power medals. The other ones are, in not my opinion, mathematically terrible. Valor Form, Captain Goofy, Mushu, Simba, Goofy A. They are all very much weaker than the other medals. Okay, moving on. My Lady Luck has been graced with a Kyrie as of yesterday, which has greatly increased its effectiveness. Starting off with a Kyrie with a Strength Boost 2 right off the bat is incredible. Follows the same logic as the Diz, Aerith, and V, but to another tier as well. The 3 gauges I feel is fine, because the way that I have my Lady Luck set up is for first turn wins, and I'm trying to actually use as much gauge as possible if it is more effective. Not thinking about their turns at all. So starting off with the Kyrie gives us 2 strength boosts, which leads straight into Kingdom Hearts 2 Riku, which is probably definitely my strongest single target, considering my Hercules is not gilted, and they are the same medal, just different elements, and they are both at the very top of the single target here. When I talk about my Lady Luck, I will be talking just about the one-hit tier. This will vary if you want an AoE build, so definitely check out Tempest's chart and refer to that for which AoE medals you would want to use, or lower gauge, I mean. More turn-effective medals, anyway. So with a 3.8 multiplier and a 45% guilt with a 6600 strength, he hits like a beast. With the Kyrie boost as well, and it's only fitting that she boosts him. Kick some major ass. So my first non-multiplier, well, only on this one, yeah, only non-multiplier, I'm going to stick an Aerith in here. Simply because, like I said before, an attacker in here would not do that good. So we get a sec buffer in here, which raises my strength tier to 3. So these are getting almost a 70% boost, about 60 to 70% boost, which is incredibly noticeable. So here's my Sora version B. This medal is the third strongest in terms of average speed medals. It's just so good. The consistent multiplier of 2.68 with strength of 6,600, which is right in the middle. Gilting of 46% with 1 gauge. Just insane. He is not going to compare to a master form when it is at its max multiplier. You're going to have higher strength, you're going to have higher multiplier. That's simply how it shakes out. That master form is a better version of this in all regards. Considering how I'm using the Lady Luck is using specials with every medal. So the multiplier issue, the range isn't an issue. However, I have this gilded, which is obvious why I'm using it over the master form, and I will switch to master form when it's gilded. I am 2 away. I have 2 other ones I gotta level up. But for now, this is where it is going to be. It is also behind Stitch. But my Stitch has is low gilded. So the premium gilt is what's going to put this slightly higher in my, well, mathematically. I was wanting to say my opinion. Thank Tempest for making this not opinion-based anymore. So until I have Master Form gilted, this is going to beat a gilted Stitch. Lastly, I have Kingdom Hearts Sora version B. Sorry about that. As far as AoE is concerned, he is going to be behind Mulan. So if you have a Mulan, that's what you're going to want to use. Where's mine? I'm 1 away. I have 2 more Mulans I gotta level up. But being the 1 gauge, she is going to be better. For the AoE one, I think about the 1 gauge or the 2 gauge, simply because that might be the one that I would have to use twice. But outside of that, I'm mostly thinking about first turn wins. So with the Lady Luck, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Much more than Treasure Trove. And on my first turn, I would probably be cycling through all of this, which will leave me with 5 gauges. And then from there, I normally go out with an Aerith, Sora B, and then a Sora B again. Different version. Which will then bring me to 0, and hopefully the thing is... So that is my Lady Luck. Looking at the speed here on Tempest's chart, alternatives that you can be using are Tidus instead of a Sora version B. The 1 gauge will give you more gauge usage, but it will hit less. So you have to decide whether you're looking for a faster kill or a more sustainable gauge. It being free, though, might sway what you have available to you to use. So putting a Tidus in there is not a problem at all. The other strength one that I actually don't use, but are quite good are Peter Pan and Tifa, the status effect attackers. If you make a build around them, they are the single highest single targets, including other elements. So Peter Pan is the highest, absolute highest, followed by Tifa. And then next lowest, which Hercules and Kingdom Hearts 2 Riku, are actually a sizable amount lower. So if you can make these work, they will work. I don't have a Tifa at a respectable level. So that's the Lilac. If I did not have a Kyrie, I would probably still double buff, either with 2 Aerith, or some combination of Aeriths and White Rabbits. So that's that. We have the 3 wishes next. With the 3 wishes, magic metals in general, magic metals lack the damage to a single target ability that speed metals and power metals have. I'm actually at a loss to think of any single target magic metal besides buffers like Vivi or Tinkerbell. I guess maybe like Pluto, but would you consider him? No, he's not an attack metal. No, there isn't a single attack metal that is AoE. So because of that, I use double buffers, because when you're going up against things like fat bandits that have a ton of hit points, you're losing out that single that like first turn win capabilities that power and speed metals have simply by sacrificing gauge. When you sacrifice gauge with magic, you're simply getting a slightly stronger AoE. So there's not much you can do. There's not much wiggle room. So I put 2 buffers in here. I start off with the VV in the non-multiplier slot. And I actually have a Gilted Kingdom Hearts Aerith. I will be using simply for novelty. Once, actually with this group using the 5 buffers, she will probably stay in here. It is not needed to Sid her, considering I have Sid Wisdom and a Sidded Leon, which makes me sit comfortably at 178 of 180 with 1 5-star, which Eevee will probably always stay. So I get a buffer that's medium gilted in a multiplier slot, and her strength is not bad at 6,000. It's actually quite bad, but I only have her at level 42, though. I had anticipated not being able to use her at all, simply making her 6-star, but then I forgot I was going to be double buffing, and VV would be 5-star, so there wouldn't be 4 other attack metals to compete for the Keyblade costs. So I have a double buff, and I have the 3... my 3 strongest magic metals, and I'll discuss where they are in comparison to the other ones. Wisdom Form Sora is going to be super high if you look at his average over 3 turns, because you're going to be gauging him twice. Let me look at this now. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which leaves you with 6. And then with the 6, I normally Aerith, Sora, Leon. Actually, that's what I used to do. Now that I have a Gilted Mickey, he's going to be used instead of the Wisdom form for that second turn. But the point still stands that when you use him over the course of 2 turns or 3 turns, You're also going to be using the ones that rank above him, which are Leon and Selphie and Donald B. Also over the course of your 3 turns. So when you compare it, you'll be using them probably the same amount of times each. Sora Wisdom Form will be higher with his higher multiplier. Which is great because Magic needs it. You can use either Selphie or Leon A. It's easier to assume that you will have Selphie guilted rather than a Leon guilted. But once you do guilt Leon, he will obviously be better. Has higher base strength than she does, and is of course a medium guilt. With the 1 gauge, she's going to hit really hard. Not hard, effectively. But being that his strength is so high, and I have him Chip and Daled, he also hits really hard as well. So he's 1 gauge, medium guilt, AoE, fully Chip and Daled. He is one of my most effective medals. Right up there with Kingdom Hearts 2 Cloud. And they are actually my 2 oldest medals. And I'm glad that they were, because I was sticking Chip and Dale in everything. If you want to see something that'll make you sad. Of course I can't find now. Yeah, look at that. Don't do this. Gosh, I wish I could fuse him into a medal and get those back. But what's done is done. So lastly, this is... try to put your hardest hitting medal here. Because, again, like I said before, Magic really needs the highest damage that it can get. Because you're going to be really hard when it comes to taking down single targets that have high amount of hit points, which power element enemies a lot of the times do, like Gummy Hammers, Fat Bandits. So this is where your Yuna, Orin, or Kingdom Hearts 2 Mickey will be. I would not use more than one of those 3, considering they're 3 gauges, and just destroy your gauge. Like for the cost of 1 Yuna attack, you can get a Sora and a Leon. So try to keep it down to just 1 of those 3, and whichever one of those 3 is your strongest, use. Actually had to stick an attack boost 2 on him. I cannibalized one of my other Gilted Speed medals to beat round 62 of the Coliseum in 1 turn. So my Magic setup got really strong because of that, and my Speed medals got really weak because of it. So I'm happy that I was able to re-gilt some of my Speed medals. So I have 2 attack boosts, 2s, and an attack boost 1. Double boosted. So these guys hit really hard. Alternative Speed medals would be, like I mentioned before, Donald B, who is actually better than Leon before guilting. Once guilted, it's going to be whichever one has the higher multiplier. Well, that's obvious. Even guilted, they're both premium medals, so they will both have the same guilt potential. So Donald B is actually stronger than this. So if you can get a Donald B, it is just demonstrably stronger than this in every way. The status effect attackers from Magic are also quite good. The Genie and Yuffie, I don't even have them 5-star. They're very strong if you can get something paralyzed. Genie is actually quite high in the single target. He's actually the highest, him Yuffie, the single highest target single for one attack. Highest consistent multipliers are going to be Mickey and Orin. So take that into account. I don't really like status effect attackers, like I said. But if you can make the use of them, quite good. Poor Olympia will be quite good. So don't write it off. Once we get access to these two, and we get multipliers in all the slots, it will give us, I believe, 3 strength, or 3 speed boosts and 2 power boosts. That might be inverted, though. So my Starlight, I focus on AoE, because the only time you're ever going to use this is the Bago Coins Challenge in the Coliseum, and AoE is very important for that one, at least the way that I did it. I'm sure you could maybe Hercules one of them, Kingdom Hearts 2 Riku the other, and then hope a Mickey or Orin kills the other one. But that magic not being able to kill the power one is why I try to have at least a power AoE as well, which should kill it if the magic medal doesn't. So I start off with the Vivi because the first slot is magic multiplier, and I want to buff her. So Vivi gets the spot. 2 speeds. So I put my strongest single target here. Putting a Mulan here instead, though, and having 2 AoEs would probably be better. Considering I always just tap attack with this, or spin attack with it. And that would be much better than doing that. Your strongest speed AoE medal should go here. So Kingdom Hearts 2 Cloud, Kingdom Hearts 1 Riku, Goofy B. Oh wait, Goofy B is single? Wait, is Goofy B single target? I don't think he is. The one with the shield, right? Okay, he's single target, so never mind. Strongest speed AoE should go here. So Kingdom Hearts 2 version B. I'm trying to think of a stronger AoE for one hit. If you're going multiple hits, it's going to be Mulan or Titus. And lastly, I should probably have Mickey here. Let's look at my gauge. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, this is much better. This will give me 2 rotations of my Keyblade, which not many things survive, considering all the AoE and boosting of the multipliers that are available on this Keyblade. But like I said, the Starlight's only use for me is the Bago Coins Challenge, so my build reflects that in being specific for that. The good thing about the Starlight is you can build basically anything you want from it, considering you don't need as many good metals in one element to make a strong Keyblade. So that's that. I will post a link to the chart that I've been using for this video in the description. Definitely take a look at it. Your metal is going to be different from mine, which is going to be different from the next person. All these builds are going to be different, especially how early the game is. A year from now, we might all have the same builds, but that's a year from now. Right now, we have what we have, and every release will change that. The release yesterday probably changed everything. instead of a Wisdom Form Sora, I will probably have my new Black Riku. Along similar lines, I'm not quite sure how Zach is. Aladdin might have his place. Limit Form looks incredibly interesting for first turn wins. And in a combination with Aladdin on the Starlight, putting yourself at low hit points with the first multiplier slot, and using Aladdin in the second, which will give max multiplier on Aladdin. So that's that.